Hey there friends, I'm Andrew from the Scrap Box, and would you look at that? It's time to rip and tear. That's right, Doom the Dark Ages came out this week, unless this video is really late, and to celebrate one of my personal cozy game series, we're gonna make the DOOMSLAYER out of Lego. Normally, I'm known for customizing minifigures, but Doom Guy, or DOOMSLAYER, because they're the same guy, he has a problem. And the problem is, he big, and he is beefy. Far too beefy for one normal minifigure. So instead, we're just gonna push all the minifigure stuff aside, and we're gonna make a DOOMSLAYER statue. And it's definitely going to be a statue, and not a fully articulated figure that's like this big with a whole bunch of extra stuff, because I'm working on limiting myself, and that's a lot of work.
Andrew makes a giant Doom Guy figure with over 14 points of articulation and a bunch of extra stuff.
This happens every time. They say when starting something new to always put your best foot forward. And lucky for us, we're making two best feet. Starting with this snot brick and attaching these two Technic bricks to it. One will be given a pin and a Technic ball, and the other will be used for mounting later. This assembly of a plate, clip, brick, snot brick, and tile will make the perfect foot. You don't see it? Okay, well let me add the heel and we'll work on the actual details. You see, Doom Guy has been to hell and back wearing these boots, and that's not a metaphor. So these boots have to be chunky, clunky, and ready for any terrain, which is why his shoes have such a prominent sole. No need for laces on these bad boys, as these shield pieces will guard him from any tripping hazards. Though his heels are complete, you won't find Doom Guy clicking them 3 times wishing for home, as he has a destiny to see to, and also, demons robbed him of his home. So, we've got to finish these boots that were made for walking, stomping, and roundhouse kicking those smug hellspawn. Hey, look at that, some old brown. Are the spikes way too big given the reference?
Yep.
Are they cool though?
Yep.
And so we will use them. The second boot is slightly different on his model, so I used little clips to give him the tiny spikes he needed. These boots have pivoting ankles because I have no self-restraint, and this is obviously not going to be a statue. And with them complete, we can build the rest of the legs. Let's just move these spiky striders to the side, and then we could split the timeline in two. Because these thighs are lies. This piece should not be here. And in fact, this whole watermelon crusher should revolve around this piece. But it can't. For reasons. So for now, we'll use this Technic ball joint connector and make lemonade. That's gonna make sense later. Maybe. You're really just gonna let me put the leg on backwards? For something not meant to be a figure, these are the strongest knees I think I've ever built. But we do have to set these legs aside for a moment so we could work on the hips. This is the piece that breaks the timeline. For this piece, doesn't have enough muscle to turn this Doom Guy into a Doom Man. These pieces are specifically designed for making strong hip joints. But I don't have any. Well, I do, but they're in there, and I like that one too much. So, in a better timeline, we'd use these. But in our timeline, it looks like Doom Guy won't be pulling off these moves anytime soon. As with many creatures, the base of the spine will be attached to the pelvis. Also attached will be a belt buckle, a bit of armor, no crop tops for this DOOMSLAYER, only one shell, it is Lego after all, and his special key. It's to his diary. Then we've got the actual loincloth with chainmail itself, and we can replicate the process in less detail on the back. Like every action hero, your boy needs pockets. It was actually a lot of fun trying to design these as separate, distinct pockets with flaps that are 3D but not too bulky. I might even use this design in future projects. But we're not quite done, as Doom Guy is secretly in a 1980s punk band and therefore requires a chain. Perfect.
Look at those legs! You are too weak!
Now before we make DOOMSLAYER's armored chest, we must address the color. This is sand green. This is olive green. Olive green would be a better choice. Except I don't have any, so sand green it is. Also, my fingers are dirty because continuity is a lie. The armored chest of this demon-breaking man-god starts with a 4x6 plate, on which a plethora of Technic joints and snot bricks are mounted. After beautifying it with a bit of slopes, we could take a look at the armor. We've got to make that chest as big as possible, so I'm adding a ton of slopes to the bottom and adding some greeblies to the top of that. We've got some wedge plates and slopes to help amplify the pectorals, and this 2x4 brick will help fill in the top of the armor while leaving a cavity in the middle. You see, Doomguy is persistent, everlasting, and unstoppable, and that's because he is driven by his heart. And what powers that heart, allowing him to rip and tear forevermore? His rabbit Daisy. We'll just stick you in here, near and dear. And now, we could close off the torso and use a bunch of generic slopes to beef out the back, plus it'll be covered by a cape in a bit anyways. Unfortunately, our Doomguy more resembles Monty Python's Black Knight, so we've got to add some arms. The arms do have to be a bit shorter than legs, human proportions and all that, but I think I did my best while making some bare biceps, gauntleted arms with leather straps, and this might be a little bit of an illegal Lego technique, but this axle plate will create a perfect wrist for our Doomslayer's mighty fist. This arm is slightly different because I have created the Slayer's spike shield to attach to it, and while the wrists may be illegal, jamming this bar into this hole is definitely a crime.
Crime hole!
Oh, the shoulder pads. Oh, the shoulder pads. These drove me insane. Lego has pauldron pieces, but not in sand green, so I had to make them from scratch. And after hours and hours, this was the best I got, so repeat after me. Wow, those are something. And now we won't talk about them anymore. I'm just gonna clip them on and remark at the I forgot the head. Our Doomslayer does not have a head. Does he need a head? I've just been informed that we're now making a head. I'm gonna let you in on a creator secret. Sometimes you build things off camera. Mostly because you've been smashing puzzle pieces together for hours and hours, hoping it comes out nicely. And if it does, then you're faced with a choice. Do I keep it whole and not show the process? Or do I unbuild it and cross my fingers that I can build it the same way a second time? I guess this is my way of saying I sure do hope I remember how all these go together. Phew! And honestly, if this wasn't correct, you'll never know, and I won't remember, so it's good. And with a good head on his shoulders, Doomguy's first action is to disregard Edna and ask for a cape. Now, here's the part where people might be a bit iffy. The cape. The way we've built the Doomslayer so far is he is articulated, he is self-standing, he is posable, all that great stuff. If we tried to brick build a cape, number one, it wouldn't look good. Number two, it would be so heavy the figure would collapse. And number three, I don't wanna. So what we're going to do is I'm gonna make a fabric cape. Technically, Lego has made fabric capes for figures roughly his size, but he has a nice fur cape, and so I am going to make it out of fur. Not real fur. It's usually during the strangest part of my projects that I like to thank my patrons. The best way of supporting me is through my Patreon, where you could gain access to decals, 3D models, and a whole bunch of weird stuff. Patreon and donations through Ko-fi let me know that I'm doing a good job and also funds everything on this channel. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Without you guys, I'd be nothing. You are truly the badass cape adorning the Doomslayer of a channel. Now that I've got everything cut out, I'm slathering the fake fur in watered down acrylic. This does a couple things. It darkens the color, makes the fur look matted and worn, which you would expect on the Doomslayer, and it acts as a cohesive so the cape doesn't fray on the edges. Now, I'm gonna wring out any extra liquid staining my fingers in the process. Continuity? And since I'm impatient, I'm gonna use a heat gun to help it dry. Please, please, know that sources of heat and flammable fabrics are a hazard together. Be safe. With our cape complete, I cut a few small holes for this nozzle to pierce through, and with that we have the Doomslayer. He looks good, but he's just kind of chilling. The Doomslayer is complete. I really like him. It's always kind of iffy with the larger figures because you gotta sacrifice proportions or details in order to, one, get it in Lego pieces, and two, make it articulated. Which is why when I originally set out, I said it was just gonna be a statue. But if you've been on this channel for a while, you know me. I take an idea and I run with it to the ends of the earth. And here we are. Don't fall. Well, I could just say, job well done, you made him. You made the Doomslayer nice. We're not gonna stop there. We're gonna make a cool base for him to stand on, so let's make that. The vision for these were those D&D miniature bases that usually have some basic terrain and sometimes even enough rubble to strike a cool pose. You don't get a walkthrough of this one because I didn't do an amazing job structurally. You can even see a small hole right there. This week, I'm gonna go back and make instructions for this whole project for Patreon members, and I want to change this base and give it Technic pin holes to connect to the feet instead of just studs. Does look cool though. With a little posing, the Doomslayer can stand proudly upon this hellish terrain, and he looks fantastic. Except, he's got a shield in one hand, and the other hand is empty. I could try to make a translucent glowing energy sword with weird symbols on it, but that sounds non-feasible. Not in this video is what I will say. Instead, I want to make him hold something intimidating. I want him to be holding up a demon head on a chain. This particular demon will be a Baron of Hell, because a splash of red on this scene will look nice, and I just love the way his face looks. In the end, this head might not end up being size accurate, but the entire ethos of Doom is rule of cool. And would it be cool for Doomslayer to have this demon's head on a chain? Yes. And so it shall be. This head was one of my favorite parts of the build, and I did put a Technic ball connector at the neck. So if this video does really well, we might see a full body build later on. I tried a couple things for his horns, including tires of decreasing size, but in the end, the simple curves worked the best. Now all I have to do is construct his super massive jaw, and the head is completed. The last thing we can do is wrap this chain around it, give it to the Doomslayer, and take a final look. And there you have it. Now I am all prepared for Doom the Dark Ages. Till next time, I've been Andrew, you've been watching the Scrapbox. Make sure to do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, things like that. Let me know what you want to see next down in the comments. And until then, stay out of Doom Guy's way and have yourself a good one. Bye.